Per usual, I am recording in my car. Seems where I spend most of my time. So for starters, I got much deeper in this first section of my video series than I originally anticipated. I knew I wanted to give you substance and value, but I really ended up pouring my heart into it. So I hope you enjoy it and open your mind to it, and I'll dive right in. So my first step in the 5 steps of how to change your life is to know yourself, but get really, really clear on who you are. Who are you? So this is a loaded question that takes much thought, because you'll have to move past all the crap that society has taught you to believe over the duration of your entire life to get to the answer. Past those average, basic little voices screaming over you, wanting to answer this question for you right about now. The answer shouldn't be like, I'm a good mom, I'm the best banker at my branch. I mean, maybe you are those things, but that's not your identity. That's what you're trained to think you should want or be. One way to know whether it's really you that answered this question is how fast you came up with the answer. Did it take you 5 seconds, 5 minutes? That ain't you, fam. Give this some serious thought. I'll give you an idea of how I use this question, not once, but many times in my life, and what wheels started spinning as a result of it. The first time I kinda asked this question, I was maybe 19, 20. At the time, I would have answered that I knew exactly who I was. I would have said something like, I'm an overachiever, I'm smart, I'm independent, and those things may have all been true, but they still didn't describe who I was. However, I proceeded to set goals in a way that I thought a smart or independent person would, and I put all my efforts into being promoted into a management position at my job. I attended classes I freaking hated at my community college, and I did all of the things that I thought a person who is smart or successful should do. But it didn't necessarily bring me the fulfillment that I thought it would. I was able to pay my bills, I didn't go hungry, I had good health care, I was supposedly on the right track, but you know when you're going about your life doing things, every day doing things, and then you stop and realize if these things are everything? Like, is this it? And everyone around you, they seem so proud of you. Some of them are even inspired by you, and you're still there like, this can't be everything. I bet you've had similar thoughts too, and whether you paid attention to them is another story. And this is where it can get tricky for you too, because you'll want to identify yourself with adjectives. Your identity is not pretty, or kind, or hardworking. You may be all of those things and they may describe you, but they're not you. These feelings of dissatisfaction that I was feeling were magic because they urged me to keep going and keep seeking. And it has nothing to do with a lack of gratitude, not feeling grateful for what I have. It's more a feeling that you have this untapped potential. These feelings sat with me for weeks, and I kept asking myself this over and over, if this is not me, then who am I? A few months later, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar called Unleash the Power Within, and I had this epiphany that who I really am is everything, it's anything. And that may sound broad or vague, but it was a life-changing realization. If you start believing that you are everything and anything, what comes to mind? The universe? Unlimited abilities? Magnificence? If you reach this thought process, you're on the right track, because it's going to unstick you from little words like independent, smart. Because what is independence when you are everything? You're far too big and too magnificent to be labeled something so small and so ordinary. I had thoughts like, I am creative. And not in a way that a painter is creative, but in a way that I have within me a force to create anything I want in my life. My first taste of this feeling resulted in me going back to work and quitting my job just like that. I'm not a manager who's kind of successful for her age. I'm energy, and I wanted to taste more of life than what I had exposed myself to thus far. I had no plan, but who I thought I was when I was working on those things is not who I am. Who I am doesn't care about those things, but society wants me to care about those things. So who are you at your core, and what are you here to do? Ask yourself these questions over and over, and you may also feel that dissatisfied feeling that I was talking about for a couple of reasons. You may realize how far you have strayed from the things that are really important to you. Or you may come to the realization that you've been devouring all the crap that society feeds us, and you're realizing why your life has been lacking in substance and real purpose. The good news is today's a new day, this moment's a new moment, and to be honest, you should change the answer to this question the more that you ask it. Ask it today, tomorrow, ask it every day forever. Who am I? Another piece of good news is that if you're not that yet, then just get to work. You can be whatever the hell you want to be, and you can change it as often as you want. Change does not have to occur over a long period of time like everyone wants you to believe. It occurs in a single moment. That moment that you decide to change and stop arguing with yourself about it. And I'll bring that subject up later too. Imagine how dramatically one's goals change once they start thinking of themselves as everything and anything and abundance and prosperity. Being the best banker at your branch all of a sudden feels small, right? And you start thinking in terms of, why did this universe create me? And what am I to create while I'm here? Those answers are what really identify you. The more that you get into what your identity is, you may start to feel like you don't fit in the life that you've created for yourself. And that's normal. You're growing and you're feeling like this little shell that you've built around yourself is tiny compared to your ability. I felt that way when I went home and I went back to work. You know, I left with this feeling of crazy magnificence, like I can do anything in this life. And why can't you? Why the hell can't you do anything with this life? You know how many people in this world are doing crazy, amazing things with their life? Why the hell can't you? It's okay to change, and it's okay to purge the things in your life that just don't fit. Like, it's bound to happen. I think this is where a lot of people slow down, is they have these really wonderful realizations and they want to keep everything that they have in their life. And you're going about your day again and you realize, you know, a few months later that you're back to where you were before you had this epiphany. It's important for who you are and who your soul is that you don't keep shrinking it and forgetting this feeling. And everyone comes to this realization differently, and I realize most people around you are sleepwalking. They feel like they are created to live this average, mediocre existence. If you are listening to this, I encourage you so strongly that you realize that you were not born to just live a mediocre existence, especially if you know deep down in your heart that you can do a lot more and you're not. So learn who you are. Figure out what your identity is, and if you just cannot come up with one, then create one. There is absolutely nothing wrong with creating the identity that you want.